Hey, Wentworth World Entertainment and HBO and Warner Brothers have officially released the trailer, the first trailer, and probably will be the only trailer, for the Harry Potter series that's coming out. They've also given a release date, which is going to be Christmas of this year. So that's an interesting time frame. And it just says Christmas, so whether that just means December or whether they're talking about Christmas Day or something, don't know. But we're going to have a look at the trailer because, of course, the big question is still surrounding Snape. And Papa Acedu, who was playing Snape, has come out now to say he's receiving death threats and stuff like this for accepting the role. And we know the pushback to a lot of the cast about how dare you take these roles, being the fact that J.K. Rowling is a transphobe and all this craziness. But let's have a look at the trailer and then we'll discuss it a bit more. So here it is.
I told you. You are a normal boy. And you're going to start acting like one. You think you're something special? There is nothing special about you.
I've always wanted to know about my parents.
Your parents were the kindest, bravest people I ever met. They were funny and clever. And they stood up for what they believed was right. The next time I see you, we'll be in Hogwarts.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you. Let's see who you are.
Are you really Harry Potter?
And there is the first trailer for Harry Potter, and it says Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, so I'm assuming it's simply that story for the first season. Now, the first thing that really does strike you is the look of it. How, well it looks. It is shot beautifully. The sets look fantastic. It looks like the world of Harry Potter. But there are still some issues, obviously, in there. The kids, the kid playing Harry Potter, he looks like Harry Potter. So he looks fine. It's when you get to the other characters, you kind of start questioning it a bit. And it's like, there's no getting around it when we see Papa Acedu in here. And they also released an image, which you'll also be seeing, where he's in the snow. And the questions around that is like, what a stupid decision you guys made with this. You knew what you were doing and you still went ahead with it. Does the guy deserve death threats? Absolutely not. And whether or not he is getting them, he probably is. But who's sending them, I don't know. And here's the problem. Every single person who has an issue with this guy, and a legitimate reason for not wanting this guy to be this character, being the fact that the character is very much described in the books, and he ain't black. Everyone who pushes back against that will be labelled as the people sending the death threats. And that's wrong as well. So he absolutely doesn't deserve death threats for taking the role. But at the same time, he knew what he was doing as well. So getting a bit of pushback, yeah, you do deserve pushback because you accepted the role and you knew the backlash you were going to cause from accepting the role. You definitely don't deserve death threats though, especially for taking a role. But yeah, he looks terrible. Like, why they went Let's give him dreadlocks. It's like, oh my god. Now, I know Snape in the books is actually quite young, and a hell of a lot younger than what Alan Rickman was when he played the role. But he just looks too young. There is that thing where he just looks too young. He looks more like he should be a student as well. But he stands out like a sore thumb. There's no denying that. John Lithgow looks fine. But one of the things, most of the characters look fine. The costumes and stuff look fine. But I saw it being described the other day, and I thought, that isn't actually perfect description of this. And it comes from Mr. H, his review of the trailer. And I think he hit the nail on the head. It's like watching Temu Harry Potter. It really is. Because whether it's fair or unfair, you are always going to judge it off of the movies we've already had. And when you do that, you're going to be looking at these characters and going, okay, the kid does look like Harry Potter, but the rest of them, they don't look like the characters that we now have visual ideas of who those characters are, thanks to those original movies and stuff. Malfoy, he does not really stand out as Malfoy. It actually took me a few minutes to realise that that's who it was. I just thought it was a generic student, because his hair wasn't that very bleached blonde, which it's not supposed to be, but it's still kind of, when we had the version we had in the movies, who, that is who we're going to judge it off of. You're not going to judge these performances off the book. You're going to be judging the performances off what came before, movie-wise. And now seeing this, you can see they're already starting to add a few bits and pieces into it. And that's another issue, is that they said they are going to explore beyond the books, which, that's just ridiculous. You can't sit there and say we're going to stick so faithfully to the books, then start changing things from the books, such as casting like Snape and stuff, and then go, we're also going to go beyond just the books. That's not a faithful adaptation then. But once you're seeing this trailer, I think a lot of us are going to kind of really point and go, now that I'm seeing it playing out and stuff, all I can do is ask the question of, what's the point? And that is the question at this stage, I think, is like, what is actually the point? Now that we're seeing it, it's like, you literally are just remaking the movies, but for the small screen, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to work out the way they think it is. I'm sure this first season will do gangbusters in ratings and stuff. At least the first few episodes. It might fall off a cliff after that. Who knows? Whatever way they play it out and stuff. Again, you can't argue that the sets look fantastic. It really is just that thing of, though, why exactly are you actually doing this? Now that we're seeing it playing out and stuff, it's kind of like, was this a wise investment? Could you have done something else with it rather than focus on, hey, let's just remake the movies, but on the small screen, we'll stick to the books, but we won't really stick to the books. We're going to change things, and we're going to add things and stuff like that. And I don't know. Hagrid, the problem with Hagrid is he looks like Hagrid, but I still think the casting choice is a bit, you're really just seeing Nick Frost. And I think that's an issue. He hasn't really kind of become that character. It really is Temu Hagrid, So we're not seeing too much. By the way, Quidditch. They're playing Quidditch in it. Was Quidditch in the first movie? Or was that not the second movie that was introduced? I don't remember being introduced. It probably was in the first movie, but I can't remember whether that was introduced in the first movie or the second movie. So if you can remember, let me know in the comments. But I just remember being from the second movie onwards. But it's coming out in, assuming December. It says Christmas, so whether it's early December and it plays out throughout December, we don't know. I'm sure it'll be released weekly and stuff. I can't remember how many episodes they said there is. I think it's 10, I think. So there is quite a long wait till this thing arrives, but there's your first look. There's your trailer, and yeah, I think the biggest question I think people will have is, what is the point? And the whole conversation around Snape. There's no avoiding that at all. It's kind of like, wow, you've made a choice there, and it wasn't a good one. But let me know what you think of the trailer. What do you think of the images? What do you think, most importantly, of our black dreadlocked Snape? Let me know in the comments. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.